What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to another episode. I'm SwipaCam, and welcome to my channel. Now, I just got done watching the Denver Nuggets playing against the Portland Trailblazers on May 22nd, 2021. Game one of the NBA playoffs for the Denver Nuggets, and the Denver Nuggets lose to the Trailblazers 109 to 123. And by what I'm seeing on Twitter, by what I'm getting a feel for and the energy, folks is already worried about what's going to happen this series. Now, again, let me give credit where credit is due. Portland played absolutely lights out tonight. Damian Lillard in 40 minutes had 34 points, 13 assists, 10 of 25, 5 of 12, 9 of 9. He was a plus 25 tonight. Robert Covington, 8 and 5, but he was a plus 21. Yusuf Nurkic was 16 points, 12 rebounds, and 5 assists, plus 12. The bench was a plus 6, a plus 6, plus 2. They only played 8 players tonight. Portland hit a team playoff high, 18 three-pointers today. They were 47% from the field, 48% from the three-point line, and 95% from the free throw line. And they had 19 free throws. Whereas Denver shot 51% from the field, 31% from the three-point line, 11 to 36, and they were 50% from the line. And they only shot eight free throws. Portland shot 19 with perimeter-oriented offense, and Denver shot 8 with an inverted offense. So again, that's interesting. That tells a lot of the story. But let me get to this, man. I want to talk about this because it's important. So one thing that we have to get right, Denver Nuggets fans, Denver Nuggets supporters, I want you to sit back and think about this. What has happened historically in the last 3 years in game one? Game one of the playoffs in each round that the Nuggets have played in against San Antonio, what was it? A loss. Against Portland, they won. And then you come up the next year against Utah, they won. Against the Clippers, lost, blowout, double digits. Lakers lost, blowout, double digits. But what happens in the series? So the thing that people sometimes lose sight of, because again, we're human beings, we're watching the game, we're analyzing, we're watching what we're seeing. So people are so caught in the moment. Like, oh my gosh, look at Damian Lillard is doing. Oh my gosh, look at CJ is doing. Even Melo is hitting three-pointers. He hit a career high in the playoffs, 4 three-pointers in the first half. Melo never did that in Denver, never did it with the Thunder. He never did that anywhere else. Didn't do it with the Rockets for the short time he was there. But all of a sudden, they're hitting these. I mean, even Anthony Simons is hitting three-pointers. He's a 43% three-point shooter in the regular season. He's going off. People are looking around and they're saying, like, how is this possible? Well, people have to understand, game one is often just a free-for-all because you got people that are amped up, they're ready to play, they're ready to shoot, they're ready to score. So role players especially, they're really trying to come off hot. They're trying to come into the series playing well. So tonight, you see Robert Covington. Tonight, you see even, again, Anthony Simons. You see Carmelo Anthony. Carmelo was 4 of 5 from the three-point line. Simons was 4 of 8 from the three-point line, rather. Simons was 4 of 5 from the three-point line. And then you move up into the starters. Covington was 2 of 4 from the three-point line. McCollum was 3 of 7 from the three-point line. Powell, 1 of 4. Lillard, 5 of 12. Now, unless you're going to tell me that you think that Melo's going to shoot 50% from the three-point line in the series, or that Anthony Simons is going to shoot 80% from the three-point line in the series, then that's not going to happen. So again, if they take that down, Melo misses 1. Anthony Simons misses 2 of those 5. So that means he makes 2 of 5 instead of 4 of 5. That's 9 points right there, and then it's a 5-point game. And then on top of that, if you move up the roster, and then you see that the Denver Nuggets, on the other hand, Michael Porter Jr. was 1 of 10 from the three-point line. He's a 44% three-point shooter this year. Do you think he stays 1 of 10? And then Jokic this season shot 38%. He was 3 of 7. That's pretty much on par. Austin Rivers, who's shooting over 40% for the last 5 or 6 games, he was only 1 of 5. Facu Campazzo was 2 of 3. Aaron Gordon was 2 of 4. So if you average that out, and then the bench was 0 of 1, 1 of 3, 0 of 1, 1 of 2. So just average it out and bring it up to 38, 39%. Then you got an even game. So, but here's the thing that people have to realize about what's happening is, obviously Dame went off, but I don't think and believe that Nurkic is going to play that well the entire series. I think eventually what's going to happen is as the series gets tighter, as they move further into playing to survive, playing to make sure that they're lasting, playing to make sure they're staying, here's the thing. They're going to continue to have to find ways to win on the margins. And so then it's going to be your role players stepping up when they need to. But I'm honestly not worried about it. And I think we all need to just take a step back and not worry about it either, because the thing is, I think the Nuggets are going to get it right. Tonight, Nikola Jokic, 35 minutes, only 35 minutes tonight. And I think, too, his minutes are going to increase. I think Michael Malone was a little bit too soft on the minutes. He brought Jokic back with like 7 minutes, 6:55. He pulled him off the bench in the fourth quarter, which is a pretty long time to be sitting your best player, the MVP, in the playoffs. Jokic probably should have been around 38 minutes tonight. I think the game would have looked a little bit different, especially when they got it all the way down to 4. Had they brought him in sooner, I think he could have kept that going a little bit and might have been a little bit tighter. But again, y'all, Portland was just hitting. So they're just coming out gunning. And again, remember the feeling that y'all had during Game 3 last year against the Utah Jazz, when people were just like, man, is Jokic a fraud? Denver Nuggets, are they a fraud? Jamal Murray is a fraud. Here we are, we're hyping them up thinking they're going to be this team, and they're laying down and giving it up to Utah. Like, okay, well, what are we going to do this offseason? Again, Jamal Murray's out. We know that. Will Barton's out. We know that. PJ Dozier's out. We know that. But this team is talented enough to beat Portland without those players. What's going to have to happen is they are going to have to really tighten up their defense. Like, again, some of this, they were just hitting shots. Damian was hitting contested three-pointers today. It happens. It happens. But a part of what they're going to have to do, what happened was when they would double Dame or CJ, they would give it to Nurk, and Nurk was hitting the roll man either in the corner or he was even hitting some stuff on the floaters. And again, y'all, they're just going to have to tighten up that internal defense. Even that backside defender on that roll is going to have to get over there faster. And then whoever's playing that wing next to that corner 3, they're going to have to sprint and contain and make sure that three-pointer is going to not be wide open. It's going to be contested, or you're going to have to pass the ball out. And they're going to have to kick and rotate. So tonight, the rotations weren't tight. Michael Porter Jr. got beat on some rotations tonight. They just weren't as fluid as they should be. And even, y'all, like, it's not like the game was just out of hand most of the game. They got it all the way down to 4. The Denver Nuggets, the score was 30-35, Portland in the first, 61-58, Denver in the second. And then third quarter, it was 86-96, but Portland went on an 8-0 run when Jokic went out. And so I even see some people on Twitter saying, well, the Nuggets don't have the firepower. But, y'all, it's not about firepower. The Nuggets, since AG has been with the team, have like the 7th-ranked defense in the NBA, especially since Facu Campazzo, who played a lights-out game tonight. Absolutely lights-out game tonight. When he stepped into the lineup, it changed everything. So it's not a matter of them having more offense. It's a matter of them having their defensive assignments locked down cold. Because you know who has great defense but has terrible half-court offense? The LA Lakers. The LA Lakers rely on turnovers and fast break. That's how they beat you, because their defense is literally elite. It is the best defense in basketball. And it's not even because they're just super big. They're big, but they're athletic, but they are literally sound. Every rotation is sound. Every assignment is sound. As soon as they're rotating, as soon as they're doubling, they know where they're supposed to go. They're assignment driven. So with the Nuggets, what's going to happen as the series progresses, when we get Will Barton back, as he steps back in, the Nuggets are going to become more assignment oriented on their defense. And then what happen is Portland's going to have to look at it and be like, you know what? They're not going to have those easy shots. So I predict that the Nuggets will come back and win game 2. But then it's going to go to Portland, and I think the Nuggets have a chance not just to win one, but win both of those games in Portland. Because, again, it's not a matter of Dame's going to be Dame, but that's probably Dame's best playoff game he's ever played against the Nuggets. And, again, you don't have Gary Harris. Get it. You know, you even don't have Jamal Murray at 6'4", bodying him up, being bigger than Dame. So even the passing lanes and stuff is a little more wide open than it would have been. So, again, R.J. Hampton's not here, so you got to rely on Facundo Campazzo. You got to rely on Austin Rivers, who played decent defense today. And then, on top of that, Marcus Howard got rotation minutes tonight. So that's another thing, too. So the Nuggets are thin at the guard spot, so it does make a difference. But it doesn't matter, because if you can't contain a team and hold them to 110 points in the playoffs, 105 points in the playoffs, you're going to have a hard time against anybody. So, yeah, Portland has a great defense, but offense. But what I don't want people to do is to think that how is Portland going to be able to shoot this well and on top of that hold the Nuggets to 109 points a game? No. Michael Porter Jr. played well tonight. He just didn't hit his threes. I guarantee you, though, Michael Porter Jr. is going to hit 4 to 5 threes next game, because that's just how he is. And again, Michael Porter Jr. had 10 points in the third quarter by himself. and he was just rolling. Because eventually what happened was once he started just going downhill and getting to the rack, they put C.J. McCollum on him, couldn't do nothing. They put Powell on him, couldn't do nothing. He's too big and he's too athletic. And then he was hitting his mid-range game as well. I think Michael Porter Jr., he might have been 11 of 11. Was he 11-11? So 10, yeah, he was 11-11 from the field. He was 1 of 10 from the three-point line. He was 11-11 from inside the three-point line today, so layup and mid-range. So, again, that's a trend. So how do we take advantage of that? How does Michael Porter Jr. take advantage of his side? Aaron Gordon tonight played decent. He had 16 points, 8 rebounds, and 1 assist, 7 of 16 from the field, 2 of 4 from the three-point line. Now, the minuses, Porter was a -6, Jokic -13, Austin Rivers -12, Facundo Campazzo -13, Aaron Gordon -10. Why is that? Portland shot the lights out. So it's not about discrediting what Portland is doing. They played really well. But from what I've seen from Portland this season, them containing the Nuggets to 109 points is not realistic. But the Nuggets giving up 120-plus points a game, that's not realistic either, because that's just not who they are defensively. Right now, early in the series is about learning your opponent. What do you need to do? How do you focus in on your assignments? And what are they doing to try to beat you? So do we need to let Damian Lillard just go one-on-one and not double him? Maybe. Maybe they just need to run the hump. That might be what needs to happen. You just need to run the hump over the screen, and then you just recalibrate. So Jokic runs a hard hedge, point guard resets, and Jokic kicks back out. And maybe you don't run the double team the same way you're doing it. Maybe you change that up. So that's the thing. I'm okay with Damian Lillard step backs. You got to live with it. I mean, if I'm making Dame take step backs, it's cool. You know, Michael Porter Jr. again had a silly foul today. He jumped on a step back. Again, hopefully he doesn't do that next game. So it's even just little stuff like that. On the rotation, getting lost on rotations, little stuff like that. Again, the Denver Nuggets have been off since last Sunday, so they had 5 days off. And you could tell. So Portland is coming into this game, into this series, saying we have to win and take one from Denver at home, and they did. Good for them. But now it's about they want to get, if Denver wins this next game, they want to defend home court. They believe they can win 2 games on the home court, which I don't think they can. So this is going to be Denver figuring out the rotations, letting Damian Lillard do what he needs to do. If you need to let him cook, let him cook. You don't need to double him, don't double him. But find ways to continue to stay true to your assignments. So, like I said, there's actually a lot of positives to pull out of this game. I know it's not fun, because they lost. Yeah, Dame had more free throws. Somebody brought it up. Dame had more free throws than the Nuggets tonight. And so I'm not really, and again, people are at me. Yeah, so this is funny. People are always at me on Twitter. But anyway, so I think people just need to continue to realize that this is a part of how the series works. This is a part of how basketball works. It's trends, it's flows. I mean, basketball is really, you're going to see almost at least 4 runs during the game where a team's going to get up double digits or they're going to get up 8 points, and it's just going to be tug of war all game. And then when that fourth quarter happens, that's when you got to be about your business. So especially that last 5 minutes of the fourth quarter is really important. That's where you missed Jamal Murray, because in the last 5 minutes, I mean, the Nuggets had an opportunity. They were down 4, down 6, and they easily could have come back if you got, Jamal Murray and they're running pick and roll with Jokic. It's dangerous, because now they got to respect the three-pointer from both of them, respect the mid-range from both of them, and respect both of them inside. But they didn't have that tonight. So now it's about, okay, but what do we do now down the stretch of the playoffs where we got to get a bucket, or we got to make sure that we're getting multiple options available? So do we need to put Facundo Campazzo in the pick and roll with Jokic, who played really well tonight? Do we need to put Austin Rivers? Do we need to trust MPJ more on the pick and rolls? And again, MPJ chucked up a little bit of some shots today. He chucked them up for 3. Not from the field, from inside the three-point line, but from the field. So it's just a lot of stuff, man. So I like that the way that the teams played tonight. Again, you just come out, you do your best, you give the best that you got. But I think at the end of the day, I think the next game can look a little bit different. I think the defense is going to tighten up on both sides. I think Michael Porter Jr. going to have a much better game shooting. I think that Damian Lillard going to do what Damian Lillard does. I mean, he's a top 10 player. I'm not surprised he gets 34 and 13. That's just the kind of player he is. Now, 13 assists is a lot. But I think the way that, again, I think even the assist numbers, the reason they're so high is because the way that Denver runs their defense is they're making him be a passer. And again, if the people he's passing to hit shots, then you just got to live with it. But that's the whole point. Do I trust that the role players for the other team are going to be what beats us? So that's why you double team. If you don't want a double team, you just want to make them a scorer like tonight. we need to talk about Portland literally just made Jokic score. So Jokic gives him 14 to 27, 34 and 16, but he has 1 assist. That's his career low, I think, in the playoffs maybe. So they literally just said, we're not doubling them. We're just going to make everybody else beat us. And tonight, again, it's not even that. Because Jokic cooked. He shot over 50% from the field. But it's the fact that the other players on the team didn't hit some of their open three-pointers tonight. And so I don't know if that's going to be a trend or not. But again, if Michael Porter Jr. makes 4 of his 10 three-pointers or 5 of his 10 three-pointers, then the game looks different. But he, again, was getting pressed up on. Powell was in his grill. Covington was in his grill. Even C.J. McCollum got in his grill at one point in time. They want him to drive to the basket as opposed to having an open three-pointer. So I think that as they continue to figure out the series of the next 2 or 3 games, I do think it's going to be a little bit different. So, again, I'm not overly concerned, but the reason I trust Michael Malone, I trust the schematics that Wes Unseld Jr. is going to build into the system to make sure that they're doing what they can to take away some of those corner threes. And I think, too, what we need to realize that 2018-2019 season, the Nuggets had a top 10 defense, and the Nuggets gave up the most corner threes in the NBA that season. But what they did was they trapped it. So as soon as you threw it to the corner, man, they were sprinting out to try to contest. They wanted you to shoot that three-pointer because those are the hardest three-pointers to make on the field. So the Nuggets might just let them cook in those three-pointers. Like, say, you can beat us from the three-point lines in the corners, then you can do it. But, again, it's about, do I actually trust the role players to hit those shots consistently? And so we're going to see. Right now, it's the right beginning of the series, and people are feeling confident. But, again, when more stuff starts getting on the line, I've watched Melo play basketball in the playoffs since the 2003 season, and he's played really well in spurts. But is he going to shoot 50% from the three? No, he's not an efficient player. He's a volume player, so his volume is going to increase with that second unit. He's not going to be as efficient because that's just not how he plays. Anthony Simons, again, he's going to hit his shots. He's not going to hit 4 or 5. And then it comes down to Dame and CJ, especially CJ, because CJ is a great dribble penetrator, floater, mid-range game player. So it's going to be very interesting. I wonder what the Nuggets are going to do on offense to switch things up. So, again, they lose tonight 123-109. But what I say is don't trip about Game 1 losses. Again, take it for what it is. The Nuggets have things they need to work on and build up. But, again, they've lost 3, now 4. They've lost 4. So they're 2-4. In their 6 series they played in the Jokic era, they were 2-4 in the first game of the playoffs. So it is what it is, man. To start the series, for some reason, they just don't start off strong. It's almost as if they like to get the best punch from the other team, and then they like to figure out what they need to do on the other side of it. And so, we'll see what happens, man. So, anyway, y'all, that's going to do it for this episode. Let me know in the comment section what you're thinking. Am I off? Do you feel like I'm wrong? Do you feel like Portland's just going to coast through the series? You feel like the Nuggets have no hope on offense without Jamal Murray or PJ Dozier or Will Barton? Let me know what you think. Was the defense awful tonight? Facundo Campazzo, how did he play? Anyway, y'all, we're going to be back. The Denver Nuggets play again on Monday. And so that's going to be another late game in Denver and another late game on the East Coast and another early game all the way in Serbia, y'all. So I appreciate y'all. I'll see y'all soon.